This is Cooperstown, a small suburban town located in the middle of central New York, where approximately 2,000 people call their home. What's interesting about this town is how many hotels, restaurants, and local businesses reside here. But how can a town of about 2,000 people support all these different types of businesses? Well, one word: baseball. Cooperstown, New York is home of the Baseball Hall of Fame, where every year thousands of tourists come to visit to learn more about the history of baseball and share their passion for the game. Although baseball was technically not invented in Cooperstown, the origins of the game can be traced back to this small town thanks to a Civil War officer by the name of Abner Doubleday, who allegedly invented baseball in Cooperstown in 1839. However, years later, this story was later refuted, as baseball was most likely derived from two English games called rounders and cricket. Despite the Abner Doubleday story being a myth, I think it's cool that Cooperstown still recognizes its history with the creation of Doubleday Field and even small businesses like Doubleday Cafe. Speaking of history, we need to talk about the Baseball Hall of Fame, which was established in 1936 to honor the trailblazers that have made the game what it is today. Ever heard of Babe Ruth? What about Ty Cobb? These are two legendary players that represent the first class of athletes that were ever inducted into the Baseball Hall of Fame back in 1936. If we fast forward to the summer of 2007, Orioles shortstop Cal Ripken Jr. gets inducted into the Baseball Hall of Fame. So what's so important about this year? Well, remember in the beginning when I talked about all the different businesses that operate in Cooperstown and how they're able to survive on such a small population of just 2,000 people? Well, in 2007, when Cal Ripken Jr. was inducted into the Hall of Fame, that ceremony brought in 75,000 people to Cooperstown, New York.
75,000 people.
Imagine being a business owner and making a majority of your annual sales in a weekend.
Hot dogs here. Get your hot dog.
Or imagine owning a single family home that's within walking distance of the Hall of Fame. You could charge $40 a car just to let people park in your front lawn for a few hours. Now, because Cal Ripken Jr. retired from the Baltimore Orioles, I'm going to go out on a limb and say that a majority of those 75,000 people probably came from the Maryland area, which is impressive because Maryland is 2 states over from New York and is almost a 6-hour car ride to get to Cooperstown. So if 75,000 people are willing to travel over 2 states to see their favorite player get inducted into the Baseball Hall of Fame, how many people do you think would show up to Cooperstown if it was a player from a New York team? Well, depending on when you're watching this video, we're about to find out real soon. On September 8th, 2021, New York Yankees former shortstop Derek Jeter will be honored with a ceremony to celebrate his recent election into the Baseball Hall of Fame. Derek Jeter, along with 3 other players, all represent the class of 2020 athletes that were elected as new members into the Hall of Fame. However, because of the global pandemic that was going on in 2020, their actual induction ceremony was postponed until the following summer due to health and safety concerns for the public. Until recently, Derek Jeter's induction ceremony was scheduled to be a virtual event only, being held on July 25th, 2021. However, since current events surrounding the pandemic continue to change, the board of directors have approved an in-person induction ceremony, which will be held on the grounds of the Clark Sports Center on Wednesday, September 8th, 2021. Now, it's important to note that the typical tourist season for Cooperstown usually starts around Memorial Day and slows down a few weeks after Labor Day. This time frame is usually the busiest of the year because not only is the weather the nicest during these dates, but there's also a massive baseball tournament that takes place. That's right, not only is Cooperstown home to the Baseball Hall of Fame, but they're also home to the Cooperstown Dreams Park, which is a national baseball tournament for kids that are 12 years of age or younger. To give you an idea of how many people the Dreams Park brings into Cooperstown each summer, let's take a look at their rules and we can go over some simple calculations real quick. Each summer there are 12 separate tournaments which take place over 12 different weeks, with each week being a new tournament. There are 104 baseball teams playing in every tournament, and each baseball team is made up of at least 11 players and 2 coaches. If we assume that family members of teammates are not coming, then that would bring in an additional 16,000 people to Cooperstown each summer. In reality though, each baseball team probably consists of 15 players and 2 coaches, with everyone bringing mom and dad along for the experience. So the actual number might be closer to 60,000 in terms of the amount of people that visit the Cooperstown Dreams Park each summer. And something that's worth noting is there's also a competing baseball tournament which is separate from the Dreams Park, which is called the Cooperstown All-Star Village, which is located about 30 minutes outside of Cooperstown. Although this baseball tournament doesn't bring in as much traffic as the Dreams Park tournament, I think it's safe to say that the All-Star Village probably brings in at least 37,000 people each summer. So if we look back in 2007, when Cal Ripken Jr. was inducted into the Baseball Hall of Fame, there were 75,000 people that attended the event, plus almost 5,000 people that were in Cooperstown for the Dreams Park tournament, and then about 3,000 that were in town for the All-Star Village tournament. That's a grand total of about 83,000 people that were in Cooperstown just for 1 week in 2007. And so that leads to the question, how many people do you think will be in Cooperstown for Derek Jeter's induction into the National Baseball Hall of Fame? I mean, Derek Jeter spent his entire 20-year career with the New York Yankees and was named captain of the team in 2003. He ended up winning 5 championship rings and was named the World Series Most Valuable Player in the year 2000. He ended his Yankee baseball career with some very impressive stats. Over his career, he had almost 3,500 hits and over 1,900 runs scored. Not only was Derek Jeter a very valuable player to the Yankees, but he was also very loyal. And I think this upcoming September, we will see that loyalty being reciprocated by his fans. As New York City is only a short drive away, and there could be potentially hundreds of thousands of people traveling to Cooperstown to see him being inducted into the Baseball Hall of Fame. And if Airbnb is any indication of how busy it might be that week, we can see that most places are already booked up for that week. And if you are lucky enough to find a place to stay, then plan to pay anywhere between $350 to over $2,000 per night. And don't forget about parking. Remember, Cooperstown is home to about 2,000 people and was not designed to accommodate hundreds of thousands of cars. So don't be surprised if you see locals charging $100 just to let you park in their lawn for the day. If I could use my psychic abilities, I'm gonna guess that Derek Jeter's induction ceremony is gonna bring in between 150 to 200,000 people to Cooperstown for the week of September 8th. I could be way off with this guess, but let me know what your prediction will be down in the comment section below. I hope you learned something new today, and if you are planning to visit Cooperstown in the future, then be sure to check out Council Rock Brewery. It's basically a microbrewery that's located a few miles away from the Hall of Fame, and not only has really good beer, but really good food as well. I know I really enjoyed the burger that I had there during my last visit to Cooperstown. I'll throw their website down in the description box below. I'll see you next time. Hey guys, I just wanted to thank you for watching this video. Be sure to hit the subscribe button that's right above me. And then check out my other videos, which will be listed on this side of your screen. We'll see you next time, Frugal Fam.